Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the RDA. It's Arsenal getting a massive win against West Brom, 4-0. It was a magnificent game last evening in the snow, in the winter, deep into the winter weather. And look, plaudits to Arsenal. They are on a 3-game unbeaten run and 3 wins back to back, which means that honestly, I think it's a huge achievement. And they're on red hot form at the moment simply because no other team in December I went on a 3-game win streak. I don't believe. And if there was, it probably wasn't many in the Premier League. I don't think Liverpool were able to go on a 3-game win streak. So that's actually monumental. And I know we're in January of 2021, but 2 of their wins did come last year. So magnificent. A huge win against Chelsea. The follow-up against Brighton, I believe it was, and then again against West Brom. Now, of course, you'll have the Arsenal fans in the fan base who think they're going to win the league now, who think Tierney's the best left back in the league, who think Lacazette is better than Robert Lewandowski, and Saka's better than Greenwood and every other youngster in the world, including Kylian Mbappe. And they're not just going to win the league, but they're somehow going to get their defeats erased and go invincible again in 2021. We'll have those Arsenal fans, and it's okay because they'll get humbled soon when their team loses. But for the rest of the other Arsenal fans, I have to hold my hands up and say, well done. Well done. All I've done on this channel is banter Arsenal since they beat us 1-0, because I still don't know how we lost to you lot. But it's a magnificent win, to be honest, and I have to give credit where credit's due. Saka played well. Emil Smith-Rowe is looking like an absolute revelation, and even without Martinelli in the team, Lacazette looked to be back to his old self. Now, yes, it's just against West Brom, but West Brom are a team that took points off Liverpool. West Brom are a team that have taken points off bigger teams. Brighton have taken points off bigger teams. They nearly beat us in the opening week of the season as well. Don't forget that. Also, they did beat Chelsea as well, and Chelsea are not a terrible team at the minute. I know there's a lot of people who will banter Chelsea and will be laughing at that, but Chelsea are not a terrible team. They're still, what is it, like 6 points off the top? So Chelsea are still mathematically in a title race. So are Spurs, and so are all these other teams. So really, this is a positive result for Arsenal, and Arsenal are now 6 points away from the top 6. So what looked like a team that would be in a relegation battle has now virtually leapfrogged their way back into a top 6 conversation, and it was against Big Sam. Now, I want to talk a bit about West Brom and Big Sam towards the end of the video, because I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. But I think where Arsenal have hit it hammer on the head, and where Mikel Arteta has got it right, in my opinion, is playing the youth. Playing people like Smith-Rowe, playing people like Saka, and I know Saka was playing before, but it doesn't help when he's the only one. Playing Tierney in left back because he had such a good performance. Playing people like Maitland-Niles will make a difference, in my opinion. Yes, they are young. Yes, they will be inconsistent. Yes, they still have a lot to learn, but they haven't got ozilitis, fam. They haven't got the ozil disease yet, fam. They haven't received their retirement package like Aubameyang, and they won't just go missing in big games. They will fight for you. They will have the passion and the desire. And some of them that came through the youth academy understand what the club is about, so they're willing to play for the shirt. And that is what matters. I preach the same thing with United all the time, and I think it's coming to fruition with Arsenal. Mikel Arteta, well done. Well done. Going to Big Sam at West Brom they're not an easy team to break down. West Brom are not an easy team to break down. West Brom barely offered any threat in that game, if I'm being completely honest. You could almost, I mean, there was that small period in the second half where it felt like West Brom could have come back, and there was that slow motion shot of Sam Allardyce kind of like blinking and closing his eyes in slow motion in complete disappointment. And you knew if West Brom took that chance, you would have had a lot of Arsenal fans sitting on the edge of their seats with their butts clenched, because it was going down if West Brom scored there. But beyond that, they didn't really do much. I think Arsenal wiped the floor with West Brom. I don't want to hear this West Brom didn't play that well nonsense. Arsenal deserve the credit, and Arsenal might genuinely be back. But I still don't think you guys will make top 6. I still don't think you guys will make top 4. I think all the nonsense about you guys being back in the top 4 race needs to stop. I think you guys are at best between 6th and 9th in the Premier League. That's where you will finish, in my humble opinion. And I think you guys should have other priorities. I said yesterday, after Spurs got their result against Leeds, that they should prioritize other trophies. I think it should be the same for Arsenal. Win the Euro. Try win the Farmers' Cup that you've been in for the last 4 years. Like, actually try win the trophy before you say, we're too big for the Europa League. Actually, how about you try win the competition, in my opinion. But yeah, anyways, well done to Arsenal. Sorry, I just can't resist bantering you lot. Big Sam, West Bromwich Albion. I think West Bromwich Albion sacking their manager after he got them promoted is very, very harsh, especially at Christmas. Like, in my opinion, they could have just waited. They could have waited till the end of January, and maybe that's a bit naive on my part. Maybe that's a bit of sympathy on my part. I don't really know how West Brom fans feel about it, but as far as I know, the few West Brom fans I've seen on the internet actually enjoyed the football that the previous manager played. Now you're going to be playing fossil football and getting battered by teams like Arsenal. You might stay up, but then what's the future, you know? And this is the thing with promoted teams. You know, Leeds are the Leeds and maybe Wolves, and I'm trying to think of more. Sheffield United, but they're crap this season, but Sheffield United last season were very good. Those are the only three promoted teams I've seen come up and actually play a brand of football that is sustainable. I mean, Wolves are defensive, to be fair, but my point is they played a brand of football that's sustainable and has gotten them into the top half of the table, or at least into the conversation, and they're not just constantly fighting a relegation battle. West Brom, on the other hand, look like the kind of teams, and apologies for hitting the mic there. West Brom look like the kind of team, in my opinion, that are going to be in a relegation battle pretty much season in, season out, until they get some sort of consistency with their management. Big Sam is not a consistent option, so it'll be interesting to see what West Brom does in the summer, but whether or not they will stay up, I don't know. Is this one step too far for Big Sam? Let me know in the comments down below what you think, because Big Sam, manager that's never been relegated, he's got a huge task ahead of him with this West Brom team. After the positive result at Anfield, it's all gone downhill for Big Sam, losing 4-0 to a team that was literally sat in 14th or 15th before that game. Ain't pretty, Chief. It ain't pretty. Arsenal's your competition. Arsenal's the teams you got to be beating. But anyways, big up to Arsenal, and yeah, I've got nothing else to say. I've been sucking off Arsenal for the last 7 minutes, so I'm going to stop now. Peace out.